Hello YouTube, this is Victor and welcome to my channel. Welcome to my English channel, that's new. I did that just because YouTube had a little bit of trouble to figure out what am I doing. So I've been advised to have an English channel and a French channel. So if you want to see the French channel, si vous voulez le voir en français, cliquez sur le petit bouton qui se trouve par ici, click over here. Otherwise this channel will now only be in English. I'll try to load all the previous videos. It's going to take a while because there's over 100 of them, but I'll try to load them time by time. Yeah, so there's two different channels now. Today I'm going to talk about reasons why you might be denied flying, or we might decide a passenger will not be able to fly with us, or what we call also offloading a passenger. Welcome aboard. If you are new to my channel, you can hit the subscribe button. And my name is Victor, I'm a flight attendant, and every week I travel and I share with you some tips on how to travel in better conditions. I'm in lovely French Caribbean paradise this week to visit my sister, and next week I'll be in Montreal. So today, as I mentioned, I'm going to talk to you about why we would deny boarding a passenger or refuse to transport a passenger to destination. Flight attendant training, and if you haven't seen the video around that, I'll put a link over here. It might still be on my French channel. Flight attendant training is mostly around safety of the passengers. Your safety, our safety, and the safety of the equipment of the aircraft. So any risk that we can avoid, we'll avoid it, because you never know who's traveling nowadays. We don't know our passengers. We know the rest of the crew, but who knows what could happen now. So to avoid to take any risk, if we have any suspicion, might take the decision, and it's not a one person who will take this decision. It will be in collaboration with the captain and also the senior manager on board, and sometimes the ground staff, to deny boarding a passenger. So I'm going to give you a few reasons why we do that, but again, it's not something we do by pleasure. If we have to deny boarding, if we have some time to divert the flight, if something happened during the flight, it will delay the plane, so that means delay the flight, sorry, so that means delay the passengers that are on board, because some of them might have onboard travel. Some of them might have plans on arrival. It delay ours to either go and have some rest at the hotel or to go home. So we know it's an inconvenience for everybody, and especially for the person who's going to be denied boarding. So just a few things that you may understand why we do it. The tools we have, first, if it's happening on the ground, we can deny boarding a passenger. That's usually quite easy. We just offload the passenger, remove the bag from the hold, and the passenger will be on the next service or sometime the next day, especially if he's a little bit drunk, you need to become a little bit more sober. Another thing we can do is to restrain a passenger on board if it's happening during the flight. So we've got usually handcuffs, or it could be zip tie, but where we have handcuffs on board, and we train actually for self-defense. Last resort would be to divert the flight. So if there's an airport nearby where we can do a diversion, that may be, but it's really for severe cases or a medical case. If someone is about to die and we can divert the plane because we need medical assistance, then we'll do it. But diverting a flight is actually quite costly and involve a lot of extra people in the airport that's not prepared to receive us or was not planning to receive us. So one of the reasons why you can be denied boarding is if you arrive drunk or if you smell alcohol. We understand sometimes you have a long layover in connection in transit before you come on my flight, and then you're at the bar, you're at the pub, and you're having a few drinks and a few more and a few more, and by the time you walk to the gate you're a little bit tipsy. So we'll try to notice this kind of stuff. The ground staff will try to notice and inform us, but also when you board where I work, we have to check your boarding pass and try to do it quickly, engaging very quickly. It could be just welcome aboard, how are you sir today, or if there's a bit of lineup while someone is putting their bags in the overhead bin, I will try to have a quick check, how long did you stay here, and we try to judge a little bit how you look like and how you feel. But sometimes we can't catch everybody. Sometimes boarding is very, very rush, and we might miss out. Or if you had been drinking vodka, well, usually it doesn't even smell. But if we have any suspicion, we may have send a flight attendant around and try to talk to you quickly and see if there's any extra signs of being drunk. It was a few years ago now, a passenger boarded the plane. It was one of the last one to board, not the exact last one, but it was really the last minute before we were supposed to close the door. It was in premium economy on the first row, right in front of the wall, because in front of him was a business class cabin. And he left his bag on the floor, which we can't have for takeoff and landing, because actually it's an escape route. The bag is in front of his feet and not under a seat in front of him. So the flight attendant kindly asked him to put it in the overhead bin, and he responded very rudely using the B word, biatch, let's say it like that, and then I said, it's your job. it's actually not her job to leave the passenger's bag, but the thing, premium economy is a very small cabin on this aircraft. We only had 21 seats, so the whole rest of the cabin heard it because it was quite loud. So she came to me a little bit in tears. I say, you stay here, I'll go and talk to the gentleman and explain, like, you can't speak like that to my crew. I will not accept and tolerate this kind of behavior. So you have two options. Either you fly with us today, but you apologize to her first, and there will be no alcohol served for the rest of the flight for you. You won't get a single drop of alcohol. Anything else you can have, but no alcohol. Second option, you can go back to the bar, you stay overnight, and then you'll be on the next flight tomorrow. But it's your decision, but you have 10 seconds to choose. And he decided to stay on board, and he behaved very, very well, and he actually apologized to the crew. But that's one reason why I can decide that I'll ask the captain, and usually they'll back me up. But no, you're not having this behavior with my crew, because who knows how it could become a little bit later in the flight. It can be even worse. So another reason is being disrespectful to the crew. So not only drunk, usually they go together, but if you start to be abusive to the crew, will not accept that. And it can lead to also being handcuffed. It's happening also during the flight. I'll put the link again over here, but a few weeks ago I talked about how I handcuffed the passenger on the plane. So actually this can happen, and it almost cost this gentleman, if I'm right, $10,000 and 2 years of jail. So don't harass your crew, because we're not here for that. Don't abuse your crew. The next one is drinking on board, and it's not something I won't blame always the passengers directly, because you go through the airport and you see all those duty-free shops to sell those mini bottles of spirits, and you say, oh, it's so cute, it's so cheap, I'll just get one or two and I'll have them during the flight. Actually, it's not intended to be drunk during the flight, it's to be drunk at destination. On board, you're supposed to drink only the alcohol that's provided by the airline. It's a way for us to control if someone's getting too drunk, and some people keep on asking for a glass of wine, but after a few of them, usually we'll pass a message, we'll share the information with the crew. If you see you had too many wines, we'll be fine. We'll just kind of have a quick chat with you and say, sir, you had quite a few. Their body reacts differently on the ground and in the air with alcohol, so we're going to give you something to eat, and we'll wait maybe an hour, and then we'll bring you another glass of wine. But we want to make sure you're fine and you stay safe, and you safe for yourself, but also for the rest of the cabin. And usually the passengers will be all right. Some will say, yeah, I know how much I can drink. I say, yeah, but I don't know that you can really handle it, so I can't take the risk. And we'll be fine to give you something else, but in the meantime, have a little bit of coffee or tea or a glass of water and some chips or something in it, and then I'm sure you'll be fine in like 40 minutes to an hour. Another reason, if you are sick or if you're vomiting, usually it's happening during boarding. If we notice that you're vomiting during boarding, or if you get quite sick, usually it's not safe to transport you. The situation can become worse and worse during the flight. You can also we don't know if you're contagious or not, so you can spread the disease on board of the aircraft, so we can't risk that kind of thing. The plane has been going anywhere in the world, and we'll bring passengers from everywhere. So if you've been in transit, maybe you came from somewhere, you got sickness over there, you take it over to where you boarded my plane, and then we don't want to carry that around. So usually if you are vomiting during boarding, you will be asked to deplane, and then you'll be on the flight the next day until you've been cleared to fly by the medical team. It's just also because we limited in treatment we can give on board during the flight. It can become worse and worse, and also sometime at destination, some countries don't want you to arrive if you have any fever or this kind of stuff. Like if you go to China, you can't have any fever. If you arrive in Japan, you can't have any fever. Same thing for Australia. So it also goes with the regulations where we land. So if you are vomiting or sick, usually you will have to wait for another day. And the last one, I haven't had this one, and I hope I won't, but it happens sometime. We have a passenger trying to open the door during the flight. Good news for you, it doesn't open, so you can remain safe. You can't open the door during the flight. It's actually completely locked, and the pressure won't, and the speed won't. For many technical reasons, you won't be able to open it. But if you try to open the door during the flight, something will happen on arrival. You might be escorted by police, and we'll have to do a lot of paperwork to explain what happened. So if you're not too sure which one is the door of the toilet, just ask a flight attendant or look for a nice pictogram who looks like the toilet, and then you won't make this mistake. It happened, if you Google it, you'll find it in the news. It happened with a few Chinese passengers trying to open the door because they had enough. If you want really to jump from a plane, there's other aircraft that are made for that. Usually they'll provide you with a parachute, so but not on commercial flights. Once again, those are all very serious situations. I try to say them with a smile, but if we do that, it's to protect the safety of the other passengers, of the crew, and also for yourself and then of the aircraft. So we don't do that by pressure, and then we have a bunch of procedures we have to follow. But if we have to deny you boarding, we know it's going to delay everyone, and it's never a fun thing to do. This is it for this week. Again, my name is Victor. If you're new to the channel, I suggest that you click the subscribe button. It should be somewhere here. It's free. You can also click on the small bell if you're watching on the internet, on the computer, and that means that you're just going to be notified with a new video. You don't have to watch it, but at least you'll be aware what's the subject of the week. And if you liked the video, you can give it a thumb up, and I'll see you next week. Bye.